Hey guys, in this video I'll be showing you 6 advanced building tips and tricks you should definitely learn and incorporate into your game. These will all be pretty advanced techniques that you'll probably need to practice to perfect, but the order of the tips will be from simplest to hardest, so make sure you stick around until the end of the video to see some of the really insane tips and tricks. Lastly, before we jump into it, I want to address this before I get 500 comments saying, "Why did you do this in Playgrounds and not Creative?" Well, Creative doesn't allow me to get my friend's perspective for these clips, but I can in Playgrounds, so I'm trying to do it to just make the video better for you guys so I can get the opposite person's perspective. Enough with the chit chat, let's get into them. The first trick I have for you guys is a cheeky little maneuver to outsmart your enemy and get a sick angle on them when dropping down from high ground. Usually if you're above someone and they're double ramping trying to get high ground from you, you will floor and cone their head, and then you could edit it to get an easy kill. But because everyone is getting much better at the game, most people expect that now. Instead, after coning and flooring them, you can edit the cone, and as they sit and wait for the floor edit, you can drop down next to them, build a ramp, and then get an easy shot off. You don't always have to edit the cone, as it's faster to drop down next to them and get a shot in, but if you really want to play mind games with them, it's definitely something that will fake them out. From their perspective, they will lose track of you because they're still a level below you and will probably think that you're just staying on high ground, and then you could drop down next to them on either side for an easy kill. Our next tip is a smart way to utilize the gold turrets that most people think are pretty useless. If you're up against a good player and manage to replace their wall, then more than likely build a ramp in front of them to protect themselves. Instead of spraying it relentlessly or trying to out-turbo build them, you can slap down a turret and it will destroy their ramp and prevent them from building at all. This will catch them off guard and allow you to get a shot off on them before they can react. This works especially well if you're in a build fight and trap a good opponent but have no traps. Instead of editing down, which they'll more than likely expect now, you can rotate the ramp towards yourself, then place the turret on the floor in front of you and get an easy kill. Just be aware you can only put the trap on your own floor or the ground in a building as long as they haven't built their own floor themselves. This trick was originally found by Martos, but I first saw it in this clip by MrSavageM. Our third trick is a faster way to edit a cone and floor. If you ever double floor and cone yourself when trying to push or retake high ground, you'll often get caught under the cone because of how annoying the cone and floor edits are. 99% of the time, you're too high up on the cone and can't hit the blue edit squares. Instead, try editing the floor from the side, starting from the closest block, and then edit the cone from the same spot you finished the floor edit. If I slow this down, you can see why this is so much easier and more optimal. Your cursor will already be in place to edit the cone after you edit the floor this way. I learned this from Hal, who is the insane player with the fastest time on both Mongraal's and Slappy's edit courses, so I think that's all the proof that I need to show you guys that this is the fastest way to edit a floor and cone together. Fourth on the list is one of my new favorite tricks that combines a high ground retake and a quick peek that allows you to get a shot off. Most of you guys have probably seen scissor jumps, which is where you jump around a cone in front of you and catch yourself with a floor on a level above where you were. You can actually scissor jump and get a shot off before catching yourself. If you have trouble with this, make sure that once you get the shot off, you look straight down to build the floor to stop yourself from falling off the high ground. This technique is actually really useful when doing the Martos 1x1 technique where you edit a cone and then jump for high ground, especially because you know your opponent will be sitting on top of your 1x1, either waiting for you or trying to replace your cone. You can also use it how you usually would just use a cone jump if someone is sitting on high ground by the cone or floor you're jumping to the side of. If you do it quickly enough, your opponent won't be able to get a shot back off on you, and it will be taken so off guard that once they get hit by the shot, they won't react and build up to take high ground. We could take it one step further if you're up against a really good player who will expect the cone jump and place floors on every side of them. If they do this, then you won't be able to do the cone jump to the side or in any direction. So instead of doing some convoluted jump like Vorwin's around these cones, we can just build a floor before they do, edit the floor on the way up, and then do our cone jump shot combo. This is extremely advanced and will take a lot of practice, but when you pull it off on an opponent or someone in a creative build fight, they'll definitely be left in awe. Second to last is a way to retake high ground that I haven't seen a lot of people use. Most people when double ramping up either cone the ramp above them, do a Tfue cone, or do the new insane Martos cone strat that blocks 3 levels up. But as great as these all are, a lot of the time when I follow opponents, I'll follow to the side of them so I won't get blocked at all, and then I'll get a ramp off in their box when they go to 90 or 180 so they'll get stuck. What you can do if the opponent is following to the side or above is throw them off by changing directions mid double ramp. As you finish placing the last ramp above you, cone it and then cone on the far side of it. You'll use this cone to continue your double ramp up into the opposite direction. Now if your opponent follows to the side of you, as he goes to ramp or cone you, you'll just continue ramping up in the opposite direction. After that, you can double 90 up, or if they follow you, you can get a shot off from the side when they lose track of you thinking that you kept tunneling forward. This technique also takes time to practice, but it is just another situational trick to have in your arsenal, especially when your opponent is following to the side of your ramp and all the other techniques that I've shown you can't really be used in this situation. And lastly is one of the most insane tricks you can pull off in a build fight. I learned this from FN Riley, who is a pro Korean Fortnite player and one of the craziest builders I've ever seen. The trick is that when your opponent builds a ramp over you, you preemptively floor it. Then you can edit the floor that you built already under their ramp, cone them, and then retake high ground. This works because if they floor you, you won't be able to get a cone off, but because you floored yourself, you can edit a block in the floor and use the little space you edited to get the cone off. Your opponent probably won't even realize it's not their floor, as they're probably turbo building the floor, but because you built it early, they'll see it and think it's theirs. I'll show a clip from 100T Kenneth, who pulled it off in a creative fight. Don't worry, I'll slow it down because he did it so fast, but remember the key is to floor yourself under their ramp before they can. My tip for that is that you should understand where they are in relation to you and that they're going to ramp above you. This way you can get the floor down just before they do or after they place their ramp. If you haven't noticed, pretty much all these tricks involve predictions and outsmarting your opponents, but that's why they're advanced and why they will easily work on really good players too. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications. This video's shoutouts go to Sebi, QBC Pixel, Litos, and Brady, who all use my code itsJerian in the item shop. Make sure to send me a picture on Twitter of you using my code so I can shout you out in a future video. And if I haven't gotten to you yet, don't worry because I'll definitely include you in a future one. So that's it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.